Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So hopefully you were able to catch the Another Eden Global live stream that just happened a few hours ago. Of course, for me on the West Coast in Canada, I just woke up, and so unfortunately that video was missed by me. But that being said, there's always a replay option, and make sure you check it out on the official Another Eden Global live stream channel, featuring Scott, obviously our media manager. Now, in today's episode of Should You Summon, we'll discuss the various banners associated with our newest unit, AS Ewella. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. Alright, so let's get right into it. We do have the first banner, which, by the way, these few banners are Faithfuls, and there is a free one at the very end. And this is the Boundless Heights Slash Edition, available for a couple weeks yet, of course. And for 2 times max, you can encounter up to, paid Faithful. So this is also including the Heavens subscription ticket. On the 10th ally, guarantees 1 of the 10 units. So there are some of the newer units out there, some of the essayed units, and of course, a few powerful slash units in the past. So Melpi, Altar Kane, Oberon, Orlea AS, Felmina ES, El Ciel Sesta, Altar Shannon Minolka, and Radius AS. These do not have a pickup bonus, so if you do hit one of the essayed units, you'll only get 1 out of 3 charges, so keep that in mind. And again, that's a pretty standard trend going forward. Unless it specifically is the featured banner, any other Faithful will not have the pickup bonus. So, I keep on mentioning that because the system's still new, but obviously as things move forward, we should already assume it unless otherwise noted, and it will always mention it in some cases in red. They'll talk about that. Okay, and so, of course, all the other units are in here, including our newest unit, Sazanka. Melpi, of course, was the previous unit to that. Anyone with Stellar Awakening is here. Anyone not featured, of course, 0.02, 0.03. Pretty long shot odds because there are just too many 5 stars in the game. And of course, there are also too many bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights in the game. So, first of all, should you summon on this banner? Well, you really have to ask yourself, how many of these units do you have? Are you willing to give up the pickup bonus on other Faithfuls? Because we're talking Faithful versus Faithful here, for the chance of one of these 10 guaranteed. And more importantly, will you be disappointed if you hit the wrong unit? So let's just quickly go over it. In terms of ultra powerful units, we do have obviously Sesta, because Sesta did good. We have Radius AS, which is the ultimate defense times 3. We have Minolka, which comes with Tetra, which is also broken in its own right. I mean, Tetra is just always broken, right? So that's that. Orlea AS is still extremely good. El Ciel is the foundation of a water slash team with all her buffs and shielding. And of course, works extremely well with ES Felmina there as one of your top level water slash DPS out there. Melpi is our newest wind support, which has amazing shielding for wind teams if you need it. Oberon is probably our newest and strongest thunder DPS at the time. And finally, Altar Kane and Altar Shannon are nice earth slash units and can be used together. Really, reality speaking, unless you are specifically desperate for a number of units from this banner, you'd be better off waiting for an SDE because, let's be honest, unless more than half or 2/3 of this banner speaks to you, your 1,000 paid stones are better off suited for a pickup bonus Faithful, or a Star Dream where you can guarantee the unit you want. One of my subscribers did mention that, for example, Will, should I chase down AS Radius for that 10%? I mean, I guess you could say that it is kind of like a Faithful in the fact that you get a 10% chance on the 10th pull, but those odds aren't good enough for me in general. I'd rather use a Star Dream encounter, especially if you're targeting one of the older units such as Sesta, Minolka, and AS Radius. Also remember that they don't have, those older units do not have SAs, and so if you do get the Star Dream and pick one of those, you'll have the full kit right out of the box as opposed to some of the newer units up front, which is just the 3 there. Altar Kane, Melpi, and Oberon, in which case you only get 1 out of 3 Awakening Gauges and have to use 2 All-Cosmos star charts or hit 2 more copies of the 5-star itself to fully unlock all its moves. So in conclusion, unless you're extremely desperate for more than half of these units, it is a decent banner. Don't get me wrong, but again, we're talking about budgeting for the best case scenario, for the best use of your paid stones. Not sure this would be one of them. And crystal secrets. So this one again is only one time, heaven subscription or 1,000 paid stones. Features 3 units, only 10% on the 10th pull. Pulls 1 to 9 doesn't have any sort of upgrade either. So you can see that here. ES Philly, AS Alma, and ES Mario, which is really interesting that they pick these 3 crystal units as opposed to units like Eva or other older crystal units, even for example RCF for example. So not really sure why they picked these 3. I guess they think that this will work extremely well with AS Ewella, being that AS Ewella is a crystal water lunatic unit. And of course ES Philly as well as AS Alma are our newer and more power and very powerful, actually, mind you, crystal units. Same thing, all the units are in the game, albeit at 0.02. If you don't hit one of those 10% chance ones, so 70% chance will now be divided between the rest of the 100 plus units, so 0.4, 0.3, 0.7 for really old units, which honestly, WFS, you should stop doing that. Really, everyone should be equal chance because no one wants to hit a Bertrand, for example, or a Shaney. That's just a loss, right? And being the fact that they don't really help your roster at all, you really should be changing that to equal all the way through, as opposed to older units have a higher rate. I really dislike that, being that we already have the SA system. It's already hard to get units that you really want, and you're going to be upgrading the OG6, so to speak. Unfortunate. All right, so this one's a pass, straight out pass. The reason why is I know that the other 2 crystal units are already gone, ES Dilly and AS Alma. If you were going for those anyways, you would have spent all your stones or the vast majority of your stones on those 2, in which case there is no reason to go for the Fateful here. If you just joined the game, I suppose, and you really want a chance of 10% for ES Dilly and AS Alma specifically, hey, not bad at all. But you're trading off that chance of 10% for only 1 out of 3 awakening gauges, as opposed to a month ago when ES Dilly and AS Alma were out, when you hit on a Fateful at 10%, and don't forget, pulls 1 to 9 also had 0.8 respectively for the 5-star AS as well, or ES. You're trading that off for this, which is also a watered down version of the Fatefuls with pickups. So with this one, it is passed for those reasons. ES Meryl, although quite good, many of us, especially if you're, unless you've been playing less than like 6 months, probably have a copy of Meryl, in which case you can still farm the codexes to upgrade ES Meryl without any penalty. And so as good as those 2 units on the middle and right are, you would have spent money on those anyways previous to this, and these are really recent units too, so I assume that people have been playing more than 3 months, in which case this is a pass. Again, if you really did miss it, getting 1 out of 3 awakening gauges, although nice, is not the end all be all, and unless these had pickup bonuses, I can't condone pulling on them. I don't know if they'll ever have it where Fatefuls that are not featured will ever have a pickup bonus, but if they don't, honestly, I feel that these banners have lost a lot of value in terms of Fatefuls, just because you only get 1/3 of the value in the fact that 1 out of 3 awakening gauges. I could be completely wrong in that, and maybe WSS will change it, or maybe, for example, you summon for one of these and you get an All Cosmos star chart, or an extra star chart, for example, of these ES units or Awakened SA units. But as it stands, 1 out of 3 is just too little value for only a 10% chance. Now, if you say 33.3% chance, 1 out of 3 guaranteed, I might change my mind a little bit, but man, as a gamble, rough, man. Finally, AS Oberon, aka AS Ewella. I know a lot of people were looking forward to her just because it's waifu material and so on and so forth. This is the standard Faithful encounter. Pickup bonus is available. Note again, no 0.4% up rate for the 4.5. And honestly, shame on you, WFS. That kind of sucks. we always used to have 0.4 for the normal style, 0.8 for the AS, and no uprate for the normal style Ewella, as in the 5-star. So I do understand that, but removing the 0.4 makes it a lot more predatory and a lot rougher in terms of, having a chance of getting anything. So, yeah, really unfortunate that we're going that way. But that being said, it is what it is. So we have to plan our summons a lot more carefully and decide what we're going to do. Not much to say here. All the same rules apply. If you hit an SA, it's 1 out of 3. All of them are here. So if you do miss and it's a faithful, it guarantees a 5-star regardless. So 90% of the time, you will get one of the other units. Some of them great, some of them good, and some of them bad. And you'll guarantee yourself a couple of bad bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights. And finally, the regular version of the banner. This one is also a pickup bonus, and again for free players, no 0.4% Ewella. So if you're missing Ewella, you got essentially 0.83. Actually, no, 0.85, because every pull has flat 0.8% chance, 0.02 of the normal style 5, and 0.03 of the normal style 4.5. Again, pretty rough. Unfortunate that we're going this way, but so on and so forth. This one will not have Melpi or Sazanka, being that they are still new and in the game, I think. So let's just take a look here. Yeah, I don't see them in here. So anyways, okay, so shall we summon on AS Ewella? Well, we do have a little bit more information and clarity on the moves. As I had mentioned in the previous video, she is a lunatic user. She gains Mind's Eye instead of Copy, so that allows you to exploit weak points. And she does give everyone the Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye does give extra damage and weak point exploitation. She also does give weak point exploitation to the entire party, from what I understand, just like RCF does. So there are a lot of units that do that. Her main draw is the fact that she can copy the type as well as weapon type. So elemental type and weapon type based on the unit she applies a Virtus stack on. The Virtus stack is applied to the unit on the right. So if you're in slot 1, I call it slot 1, then it'll be slot 2 that you're going to be copying. Mind you, if she's in slot 4 for whatever reason, it'll copy slot 1. It never copies units in the back. The interesting thing is, unlike other units that copy units, she has a lot, even more flexibility, sorry for the pun, because she can actually apply Virtus to another unit. So for example, if you change from the back to the front, you can apply Virtus to one unit, and then you switch, say, slot 2 out if Ewella AS is in slot 1, and copy Virtus again. However, she only has one lunatic activation. I'm sure there's other ways to do that, because there's always ways to give extra lunatic, I'm assuming, with units such as, like, for example, Orlea. However, she only does activate lunatic once normally. So you technically and theoretically can apply Virtus more than once, and if that's the case, then you can copy a different unit. It does only keep one type and element, so you can't copy and have like multiple weapons and multiple elements at the same time, which would be broke, by the way. She also, by copying that unit, so gets 1/6 of all the stat values on herself, making her more powerful. Now, I'm not sure why they chose 1/6 as opposed to 1/4 or half or full. This should be able to stack with AS Yifa, so that is quite powerful. In that sense that, any stacks in terms of getting more, stat boosts are quite powerful in that sense. Not only that, she should be a very powerful DPS, just about the fact that she can change her element and type. So for example, if you know the boss is doing a certain type of element or weak to a certain weapon type, then you can exploit that quite well. And so she can also do the standard pain and poison, 5 turns, ignore target resistance, water res down 50, water crystal type res down 50, type up for water and crystal up 50. If you applied Virtus on one of the units, then you will change that debuff and buff to your party for that unit. So again, she's now an RCF in the fact that she can apply everything instead of having to rely on an elemental zone. So that is a big difference from RCF, where RCF does have to be in an elemental zone. She technically can be in a weapon type zone and able to apply that. So there is a lot of, again, flexibility in doing that with strategies moving forward. And if she's in Lunatic, which we'll get back to later, the debuff and buff will be 75 up and down, which again is very similar to RCF with the maximum benefits, well, RCF having to be in an elemental zone. She does have a main DPS that does a preemptive crystal pierce AoE times 2 XL, damage increased when pain and poison, similar to Suzette. Does inflict break, and remember that it is preemptive, so you can stack units after that based on speed and exploit that break attack, especially if you have a unit that just does a single hit. So there are a lot of new strategies, I guess, or better strategies where she can use, be used for that. If you happen to get SA with the Stellar Awakening pickup bonus, then she'll now have a crystal type pierce AoE XXL. Every I guess your entire party gains weapon type damage up 50%, weak point damage, barrier pierce. Oh, actually, no, not the whole party. Just herself gets the weapon type bonus and weak point bonus and barrier pierce. And that boost also goes for the unit with Virtue. So half your party in the front line will have that boost. So technically, again, she can give barrier pierce to the unit of your choice, especially if it's already a strong unit with lots of stats that she's copying the element and weapon type of. And based on that, she will have an end of turn attack based on a damage that was done by your unit with Virtues. So very, very interesting DPS. My overall feel about this unit is that, again, very strong DPS, have no idea of the mods out there, but just the fact that she has the extra end of turn attack, the ability to fit in any weapon and type zone, technically, she and able to basically apply things like RCF, however, as a much more powerful DPS with, well, obviously some limitations, but definitely more versatile than RCF per se, being that RCF is more of a support and non-DPS. She could be at the top of the list when it comes to your crystal DPS. Now, the cons to summoning on AS Ewella, obviously, is if you have Ewella, then, you're summoning extra for her. Now, most of you probably don't have an 80, I think she's Shadow? I can't even remember. I think maybe Light? Okay, you don't have an 80 Light or Shadow Ewella, because Ewella, let's be honest, wasn't the popular unit for everybody. In which case, if you're summoning on it and you get the pickup bonus, then you get an extra 16 Light or Shadow and more towards that 80. But the main thing about a unit such as this is, as versatile as she is, as powerful as I think she is, I'm going to be honest with you, Barrier Pierce has been featured in many units of the SA variety over the last few banners, and therefore Barrier Pierce is almost like a standard, so she gets something there and is great. It's locked behind the SA. She doesn't have any zone break. She does have some support there, but in terms of, other than her flexibility, which by the way is still very, very much top tier and very unique, I would say her rest of her kit is mid-range at best. So I guess overall, if you're missing Ewella and you want a super powerful DPS, I imagine she's going to be one to add to your team, and again, able to fit in any elemental or type team per se. However, if you're talking specifically for Crystal, I imagine just with ES Thilly and AS Alma, that too alone with any combination of RCF, AS Nokoko, or whatever, will probably be more enough to win the fight, because remember that ES Thilly does give, my understanding is, gives singular focus to the entire party for one turn. So, I mean, I can't say that Ewella AS is going to help you win harder if you already have crystal teams such as that, and AS Alma will obviously help you survive with the with her tanking abilities as a crystal zone setter per se. So, if you're looking to augment your crystal team and you already have those two, she's going to be a nice add-on, but she's not a must-have. If you don't have Ewella in any form, then your decision is a little bit harder. But keep in mind that she's going to be a jack of all trades with some powerful DPS capabilities. But I imagine that depending on how mature your roster is, you may pass on her and decide to focus your summons on future units are even more streamlined and more niche use. And the reason for that is that if you can see some of the future super boss fights, niche ultra powerful units and ultra powerful teams are what's required. It's not like you can bring a mid-range elemental team nowadays to the fights because, as I mentioned many times, you need a lot of type red down up to 200%, for example, for maximum. You'll probably need one DPS that can do barrier pierce or singular focus or something like that. You'll need a buffer that can give massive stat boosts, and you need a zone setter and shielder and power int down and so on and so forth. And she does have the DPS capability. She does have the up and down type attack. She does have some weapon damage up, but the weapon damage up is only to herself. The barrier pierce is nice that she can give it to anyone. But remember, that's in the stellar move only. So overall, good to great unit, not an absolute summoning. I won't be summoning because I do have a 5-star Ewella, and hopefully that gives you at least some idea of what to do, because again, I have to be very careful with recommending units to you. She's pretty good, honestly, but you don't even know what's coming up later. We don't have foresight unless, in my opinion, the unit completely speaks to me and feels like it is a must-have, like the likes of, for example, Tetra, AS Radius, or Cesta, like units that you just look at and you're like, holy crap. This unit is not a holy crap unit to me. She's great, but she's not a holy crap unit to me. And I can be wrong all the time. I mean, Gamer Dad is only Gamer Dad and only have one opinion, but it doesn't speak to me that way. So there you go. Anyways, for everyone summoning, good luck in summoning. Let me know how you did. I know that the update was broken last night, and so we only have it this morning. Good luck. And that is pretty much it for this update. We do have some future units coming, which I won't spoil here. Watch the live stream. It'll tell you the next couple of units that were mentioned. There is one retro SA unit, which I'm looking forward to, since I have hit many versions of that unit over some of my banners. And for those who've watched my channel, the banner that I hit many times, I'll just mention it was the Eva banner. So that should give you some hint as to the retro SA unit. As to the new unit, is another AS version of an existing unit, which can be waifu for many players. Anyways, time to get ready for work. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.